Hello and welcome to PH 501. I am Professor Reyes and I'm looking forward to the upcoming semester with you. The voiceovers for the PowerPoint will be very informal, just kind of chatting through the slides. And this first lecture will actually be presented by a guest lecturer who is another professor in the MPH program, Dr. Christina Halub. So our agenda for this presentation, first we're just going to do a brief introduction. I'll talk a little bit about myself, as well as introduce Dr. Halub, who'll be presenting, give you some course information, as well as talk about some of the online activities before we jump into the course content. So a little bit about me. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in sociology from Cal State Dominguez Hills. And it took me a few semesters to figure out the path that I wanted to go on. And that involved a few changes in my major along the way, but I finally landed on sociology. While completing my bachelor's degree, I quickly found that I was drawn to the research aspects of sociology and addressing disparities, particularly those related to health. A professor of mine connected me with an internship with a faculty member at USC. And this is where I was introduced to public health and public health research. From there, I applied to the public health program and was accepted. During my MPH program, I was selected as a Randall Lewis Health Policy Fellow with the City of Pomona, where I completed my practicum hours. My work there involved community needs assessments, chairing the Healthy in Pomona Committee, identifying partnerships, projects, and policies to improve health across the city, and the development of a Promotores program, which was basically a community health worker program in Pomona. So in this class, you will interact and engage in the class with your classmates. This is very important for an online class since we don't meet face-to-face. There are discussion boards and chat rooms where you will share information and chat with group members. I will also join in on the conversations and provide feedback there, so please make sure you're participating and engaging, especially in meaningful ways. I also hope that you are mindful of the conversation and be professional and respectful of others' opinions and thoughts. I hope this will be an environment for collaboration and helping each other out. So, for example, if someone asks a question and you know the answer, feel free to respond. We're here to help each other out and really have that atmosphere. I really want to make this course an active learning environment where you are able to take charge of your learning. So before you ask a question, make sure you've looked at the syllabus or course content, ask classmates, and search Google. These are important habits to develop, so I hope to facilitate that with my learning style. It is a lot easier to learn when you are teaching others, practicing by doing, and engaging in discussion. The goal is for the discussion boards, online activities, and the mini papers to help fulfill these tasks and provide a more active learning atmosphere. There will be lectures and readings to supplement these activities, of course, but that's just kind of the style that I'm approaching the online course with. Okay, so here are the course details, which are all found on your syllabus. My contact information is my email there. That's the best way to reach me. For office hours are by appointment only. I can schedule Zoom meetings online or I can schedule in-person meetings as needed. This class is offered all online and so it's asynchronous, meaning that we do not meet live online. You just kind of go on and do everything at your own pace and just make sure the assignments are due on their due dates. Here are the course learning outcomes, which you can find listed in your syllabus as well. This course really lays the foundation of understanding public health in all of its different areas. We go through all of the different areas of public health, including epidemiology, biostatistics, environmental health, and more. And each week highlights a different area of public health that basically translates to the core courses that you're going to take in this program. So for your MPH program, you will be required to take the GWAR, which is the Graduate Writing Assessment Requirement. So in this course, we do 3 small literature review papers to look at your writing, give you some feedback, and learn some of your interests. So please use all of your resources and do your best on these smaller assignments so we can help better prepare you for the writing requirement. Each week we will have online group activities. Basically, you each will start out with 5 points for the assignment, and I will monitor responses to provide appropriate points. So make sure you are not only participating, but giving thoughtful responses and really engaging with one another. Online quizzes. So you will have 3 online quizzes that are worth 10 points each. Each quiz allows 20 minutes to complete, and you have to complete the quiz in 1 session. Lastly, participation and professionalism points will be awarded at the end of the 8 weeks. So here's a quick look at our schedule, and this is taken directly from the syllabus. I recommend you at least print this page out and post it somewhere, and you can kind of mark off the assignments as you go along. So the first column contains the week and the date that the week starts. The last column contains the assignments that are due and the date that they are due. Almost all assignments are due on Sunday by 11 p.m. of that week. The exception is the final week where all assignments will be due Friday, October 18th at 11 p.m., since that is the end of the semester. Okay, so here are the online assignments for this week. These first 2 items will be due Sunday, September 1st by 11 p.m. So the first one is the Dream Job Post, which is found in Cougar Courses Week 1. I'll just explain it a little bit more on the next slide. But it's basically a discussion board which everyone can see. So you will have a chance to kind of introduce yourself as you complete the assignment. The second item is the Public Health Interest Survey. And this is something that I just keep for myself, and it collects basic information about your interests, your research, and jobs that you might be interested in. And this helps me when guiding you with your assignments. So again, both of these will be due Sunday, September 1st by 11 p.m. And they both are completed individually in Cougar Courses. There's another activity, and this is upcoming, so this will be due at the end of week 2. So due on Sunday, September 8th by 11 p.m. And this is called the Top 5 Public Health Introduction Takeaways. So this is a group assignment, and you will see who is in your group in an upcoming slide. You will review the slides that are assigned to your group, and then, of course, read the textbook chapter. And basically, you're just going to provide more context to the slides that you're reading. So you will develop 2 to 3 PowerPoint slides and give 5 main takeaways from your assigned section. Once each group sends the slides, I'll put them all together and then send them out to everyone. So you are learning the major takeaways and then introducing it back to the class. Also, for this group assignment, I would like you to use the chat room for your group to start your discussion. So feel free to introduce yourselves to one another and then discuss how you plan to tackle the assignment, whether that be starting a Google Doc where you all can work on it together. But I do really want to see that you are chatting with one another in the discussion board. And then that gives me a chance to join in and provide some feedback as well. Make sure you aren't missing any key areas or kind of redirect you if needed. So those are the things that are due, just the two simple assignments this week, and then the group assignment is upcoming for next week. So we'll go over those assignments in the next slides. Okay, so the first online activity is the Dream Job Post. So basically, you're going to go to any public health job site. So you'll see that there's a few listed there, but you can really go to any one that you can find. And you're going to post the position link and answer a few of these questions. So you'll want to do a brief introduction, just, who you are, where you're from, and then just kind of talk about the job position title and what are some of the basic duties. And from there, you want to think out what steps you would need to qualify for your dream job. So does that mean learning SPSS or SAS? Having experience with community partnerships, maybe getting your certified health education specialist certification. So those are just a few examples. So ideally, this assignment just helps you start thinking about what your next steps are, maybe what internship you might go after, what you might do your capstone project on. So it's just kind of getting you to brainstorm on that a little bit. And then you can also, at the end, there's answer at least one random question. So maybe what are some of your interests outside of public health, your hobbies, just to get to know you a little bit better. The third part of this assignment is to reply to someone else's post. So do you have something in common, similar interests? Had you never heard of that position and thought it sounded really neat? So just make sure you respond to at least one other person's post. So this is the assignment that'll be due next week at the end of week 2, but you'll want to get started on it. So I've divided the class into 5 groups, and you each are assigned slides from this PowerPoint. So your group will email me your 2 to 3 slides, and I will combine them, then send them back out to the class. So you'll see some of the groups only have, 2 slides, while some have a little bit more. So the reason is like group 2, you will be asked to find some examples for your slides. Some are a little bit longer, you'll see, because they're mostly definitions. So basically, you will kind of aggregate the information and find the 5 takeaways from those that have more slides in their section. Again, most of these slides are just definitions and some of the history. This is a great way to interact with your classmates. So make sure you start off in the chat room and I will hop in and give some pointers. Okay, so we are going to be jumping right into chapter 1 of our textbook. And this lecture is presented by Dr. Christina Halloop, who I said earlier is, she teaches here in the MPH program, so you will get to know her very well. And as you can see, she graduated with her bachelor's degree in psychology from UCLA. She went on to get her MPH from Yale University in chronic disease epidemiology, where she had an internship at the CDC. And she received her PhD from UNC Chapel Hill in health education and health behavior. So you'll see she's just has a great deal of knowledge, and will be taking the lecture from here.
Okay, just a little bit about Chapter 1, which is our introduction to community and public health. What has been helpful in the in-person classes is to have students review and talk live, but I did want to just say a little bit about defining public health. There's another definition later, but I really love this definition from our, association, the American Public Health Association, or APHA. And it is that public health promotes and protects the health of people and the communities where they live, learn, work, and play. Oftentimes, people will also even add in pray. So I love this definition for its simplicity, but also its depth and complexity, and acknowledging that everywhere we are, where we live, learn, work, play, pray, has an influence and impacts our health. If on a physician level, the patient is an individual person. And I like to look at and see public health as the patient is actually a community or a larger population. So as public health professionals, that is our patient, the larger community or larger population versus an individual person. So that's this is the definition, and this is exactly what I love about public health. One framework that you will see and we'll talk about over and over again here and throughout your courses is a socio-ecological framework, or sometimes people say ecological model. And again, it's really understanding that what influences you and your health, is at multiple levels. So because there's multiple levels, there's also multiple levels of influence, multiple levels where you can develop preventions and interventions, and tackle health issues as a whole. So it can start from the individual. Who is the person? What do they know? Their attitudes, skills, even down to genetics, and other things related to the individual alone. But we're not just individuals in this world. We are influenced by our family and friends and social networks. How we interact and what is available through our social networks influences our health. And then moving on up, you have organizations. Think about where you work. A really clear example would be, does your work have a gym or not have a gym, or have, healthy eating programs or not? So there are ways that, larger social organizations like work could influence your health. And then moving further on up, the community. If we're thinking about, for example, physical activity, if you live in a community that has parks and sidewalks that are well kept and it's safe, people are more likely to be outside and more likely to be active versus a place where there's construction or no sidewalks, or broken sidewalks, or just generally not a safe area or community. Most people won't be outside doing physical activity. So it's the relationships within a community and among organizations, but also thinking about community environments as well. And then even beyond that, we think about public policies. If you think about all this smoking laws or seatbelt laws, all of those, whether at the national, state, or local level, all of this impacts our health. And it's not that each impacts our health independently. All of these levels work together. So there's a synergy, there's an iterative relationship. So they work together to impact our health. So you'll see this a lot. Oh, here's another example related to childhood obesity. So if you look kind of more central, similar categories. More central is about the individual child, their gender, age, their own physical activity, genetics, so familial susceptibility to weight gain, dietary intake. So what is it about the individual child and their risk factors that might influence their weight status or childhood obesity? But a child is not without social interaction, of course, primarily with parents. So how do the parents eat? How do they exercise? Does the family watch TV a lot and have a lot of sedentary behaviors? What are the interactions around feeding or with siblings? All of the parenting and family characteristics also have an influence on the child and their weight status, and in childhood obesity in general. And then, of course, even larger and moving up, whether it's community or policy or other societal characteristics, you have crime rates and safety. You have school physical education programs. You have work hours. Think about accessibility to fast food versus accessibility to fresh fruits and vegetables. So again, this is just another example of how multiple levels of influence, from the individual to interpersonal and social networks to your community to policies and laws. How do all of these things come together to influence health and health behaviors? So hopefully you keep this in mind in this course. throughout the program, but also as you think about what you're interested in. So what are the interests that you have in public health, whether it's a particular behavior, particular health outcome or disease? How do all of these levels influence? Because it probably is not just one level. There is this interaction, this iterative effect between levels, and how we move about in our world and what affects us. So hopefully this gives you some context into how we think about public health, and also how we think about the different types of levels and ways that we can be influenced from the individual all the way up into a policy level.